And look, once the Rangers do start winning, I think you're going to have maybe a couple of, veteran guys that you want to bring in as that final piece, maybe on the fourth line or grind. Like you mentioned, we need a little bit of that grinding presence, who want to come here and be that sort of final piece if we're missing something like that. So, I think veterans see that, are watching the Rangers. I want to be a part of that. Or free agents, when the Rangers do have all this money in the 2021 off season, and saying I gotta be a part of that, because they're not gonna win a cup. They're gonna win multiple cups, from what I'm seeing, and I want to be a part of that. So it's all good, man. It's all gravy. So just hopefully we can get next season started at some point.
It'll happen, man. It's gonna happen. I'm not concerned about it. It would have to be some kind of, I don't even want to say it, national tragedy or something like that. But I think the NHL has figured this out, and I think they're going to be all right. And I think, I mean, you can just look at, if you just want to look at this one way, as far as where Canada's going in the Northeast, if you do it right, you can get it done, and hopefully all the other, the tough things going on as far as the economy and people getting to work here in the States, hopefully that'll turn around. But as far as, these sports industries, and you can, we've gone a little bit on all of them, NBA, baseball, and we still don't know what football's going to do. But we only care about the NHL. We only care about the Rangers. We only care about hockey. And I think, tip of the hat to Bettman and all these organizations and the teams to give us this opportunity, not only to get to watch hockey again, but for me and you as Ranger fans, and even all of us who got knocked out in the qualifying rounds, to talk about this and the way they figured out how to do the draft. And obviously we're the biggest beneficiaries of the whole thing. I'm grateful for it. And I think going forward, it's going to be okay. And we'll just sit back, buddy, and we'll wait. And I guess me and you can really take a little break right now and just kind of savor this, and we'll see what happens in terms of major stories with the Rangers. But don't see anything like that happening for quite a while. So we'll just we'll hang out in the hot tub with some White Claws, not together, but separately, and just kind of take this in for the next couple of weeks as far as the Rangers getting this pick, and the future looks bright, baby.
What do you mean not together? Why can't we hang out together? Social distancing? Is that what you're talking about?
It's primarily for social distancing.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah, hey, definitely some White Claw. I mean, you saw on Twitter, some guy asked how many White Claws you need to have for the episode. I said it's a 10-claw episode. So hopefully we lived up to the hype tonight.
Nah, it's good stuff. So look, buddy, anything else you want to touch on? Is there anything we missed, or any last kind of things you want to say about the pick or anything else going forward?
No. I look, the team is, in this rebuild, and now getting the number one pick is making it real easy for us on this podcast to have stuff to talk about. I tell you that. I mean, because, again, if they didn't get the number one pick, we probably weren't doing a show tonight.
Nah,
and now we just,
on the couch,
Yeah, I mean, look, we just filled, an hour of just, 100% positivity, with this team and where we're going. And, it's been like that all year, even through the 3-game sweep against Carolina. There was a lot of positives to take out of it with the young guys, and it's all good stuff. And I agree. I think that Gary Bettman deserves a lot of credit. I know he gets a lot of crap from NHL fans, but to put this whole bubble experience together in the middle of a pandemic, wasn't an easy thing to do. And so far it's working out to perfection, knock on wood. And, I think I said 2 weeks ago, I really wasn't getting into it. It didn't have that playoff feel, but I got to tell you, I was locked into that Columbus game last night. 5 overtimes or whatever it was. I was 100% into it. Even the Toronto Columbus series before that, it's all good stuff, and it's working out. And like I said, even without the fans, without like the deafening sort of soundtrack of those fans, in the background. You could just sort of feel the intensity sort of being upped. And maybe it was just the first couple of games as everybody was sort of feeling each other out in this new environment. I just wasn't feeling it. But, like I said, that Columbus-Toronto series was amazing. And that game with Columbus and the Lightning was great. And obviously the Carolina Bruins game goes into overtime. You have the Islanders beating the Capitals. Not that I enjoy that, but it's the NHL couldn't ask for anything more at this point. And then on top of that, you get an original 16 like the Rangers, getting this number one overall pick, and a little bit of controversy involved with it. I'm sure the NHL loves the fact that guy dropped the ball into the thing and it led to this conspiracy stuff, because that's all everybody's talking about, So they probably give that guy a raise for dropping the ball, because the conversations that it sort of led to these days, and it turned that draft lotto into maybe a little bit of a bigger story than it should have been. So, it's really all worked out in the middle of just an awful, terrible situation that everybody's dealing with one way or another. The NHL has come through here, and it's really working out. It's exciting. I think we, as fans, Americans, Canadians, whatever you want to say, we needed this. Dealing with the pandemic, we've all been sitting at home, not going out the way we used to, and just giving us this sort of distraction and being able to celebrate, and it's all good.
It absolutely is. I don't know who you are. I mean, you told me you don't watch anybody else, and you just rambled off like all the series. And I'm actually kind of blown away. I'm like, do I got the right guy on the show with me tonight?
I know. Well, that's it. I mean, it's taken a pandemic to get me into watching, all the games again and all the plays, because I got nothing else. I've literally watched like every show on Netflix and HBO Go and, Disney Plus or whatever the heck it's called, So I'm now just into, and I can't watch the Mets. Goodness gracious, they're the worst. So, I'm now watching, last night I'm like sitting there like on my back deck. I got my phone, on, and I was watching every period of the Columbus Lightning game, going crazy, and we're Torch fans, so I know Columbus is one of our rivals, but I'll always root for Torch no matter, what team he's coaching. But you're watching him, and I tweeted this out last night, you're watching him leaning on Seth Jones the way he used to lean on McDonough, in overtimes in the playoffs. And while they're facing, an aging McDonough was pretty cool, to see. So, it's a lot of storylines in that series, for Ranger fans, with Torch, with McDonough. So that's to me, a fun series to watch. Columbus is a team I've been really watching more than the other teams. I mean, I refuse to watch any Islander games.
It's a great story, man.
Yeah. And, Torch, I saw a couple of players saying, I forgot who the ex-player was, tweeted something else that he wished he had an opportunity to play for Torch, in his career. So, he seems like he's another guy, a perfect guy to bring in for, a rebuild, because it seems like the young players really play for him and are willing to sort of run through the wall, for him. He may not be a guy who does well with a veteran team. We saw that when he went to Vancouver. But you stick him with a young rebuilding team, and he's going to have them, headed in the right direction. So, I love what he did, for the Rangers when he was here. That, what was it? The 2012 team that lost in the conference finals to the Devils is, to this day, one of my all-time favorite Ranger teams. And they went through the whole, HBO series, the behind the scenes with the Winter Classic and everything against the Flyers. And that was just amazing stuff. So Torch will always have a place in my heart. So I am, silently rooting, I guess not silently, since I just went off on a tangent about how I'm rooting for Columbus, but, rooting for Columbus to make a little noise here in the playoffs, just so I think Torch being in the playoffs is always a good thing just for the NHL, because he's such a personality, and the NHL is, devoid of a lot of personality. So to have a guy like Torts in there, I think helps the NHL brand, which is, you have baseball, you have football, and you have the NBA, and then further down the road is hockey as far as popularity goes. So I think a guy like Torts, brings a little bit of that popularity there, brings in the audience. So it's always good to have him in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I'll also, if Tampa doesn't win that series, none of those players and Cooper, they're not going to be allowed back in Florida ever again.
Well, I don't know if they can go back there now anyway. They probably they don't want to go back. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, well, hopefully Torts, like I said, they won't go down easy, and I wish him Godspeed and much trouble as it can cause. I'm all for it. So, yeah, but it's great, man. Look, like I said, we get to watch, we get to hang out, and as Ranger fans now, we can watch these games with a huge smile on our faces, baby, because Alexei is coming to town, man. So it's all good. Brush up on your French Canadian there, KD, over the summer, all right, buddy?
Getting on it. Actually, I took that was the subject I took in high school, so I'm very proficient in French. Yeah, right.
Oui. Good stuff. All right, everybody, we are going to take we'll take a couple weeks off unless the Rangers trade Lundqvist and Buchnevich and Stahl to Pittsburgh for Crosby or something like that. We'll come back, but we'll be on Twitter. Follow us everywhere at Go Rangers Radio, and you'll find me and Katie's personal Twitter handles on there. And again, we can't thank you guys enough for supporting us through this whole thing and continue to download and listen to the show and hit us up. And we really do appreciate it. So we'll be on Twitter. We'll be online. And like I said, we'll take a little break here, enjoy the rest of the summer with our families, and then we'll get back to it as soon as the stories start happening again. So everybody, thanks again for listening. And KD, as always, say goodbye to the folks.
Bye, folks.
Thank you so much. As always, let's go Rangers!